got family love.
We are live on Underground Wicked Radio with Marz with a Z, not an S, from the Dark Lotus City. Raz, take it off.
All right. Hey, Marz, if you could perform in any city in the world, what city would you choose and why?
I've got to perform in a lot of cities in the world. When I was in this metal band called Ministry, we got to tour through Europe. One of the most beautiful cities we performed in was Venice.
Hell yeah.
Man, I love every city, everywhere I've been, through the States, out through Europe. Like, I've never been to a place I didn't like. You know what I'm saying?
Hell yeah.
So it's all love everywhere I go, man. I always find something good about it. I'm an optimist, son.
Hell yeah.
All right, I'll take a question. Let's do a radio drop right off. Can you do a radio drop for Underground Wicked Radio saying, this is Marz, you're listening to djsnickerz and Raz, and then drop links, homie. It'll play before all your songs in rotation.
Tell me one more time, you're listening to
djsnickerz and Raz on Underground Wicked Radio.
What's up, everybody? This is Marz, and you're listening to djsnickerz and Raz at Underground Wicked Radio. Get it right, homie?
Woo woo.
Woo woo. How about some links?
Links for my music?
Yep.
Yeah.
Hit up my website. It's marzofficial.com. That's marzofficial.com. Marz with a Z.
All right, I'll take questions. Marz, man, what do you get? A lot of people describe it different. What kind of high do you get when people in the audience start singing along to one of your songs, and do you ever come down from this high?
Oh, I'm just kidding.
What kind of high is it? I mean, one thing, it's beautiful when you can create a work of art and you see that it's touched somebody's life, or you see that it's affected them, or you reach some type of level that transcends the physical, and you connected with somebody like that. So I think it's a beautiful thing, and it's a beautiful part of life to connect with people on that level that you might have never even met, but you might have went through a life experience that you both can relate to, so
that's what's up. Oh yeah. One more question, Raz, before I let you take another one. What was it like being on the Dark Lotus album, man? How the hell did you get up on that?
Man, where do I start, bro? I met Jay, I was signed to a label from New York. They got me on the tour, which was it was the Bizarre tour, right?
Hell yeah.
I had never even heard of ICP before that. When the label called me, we were looking for a tour. The label called me and they were like, yo, there's this crew called ICP. You want to go on tour with them? And I'm like, yeah, is it hip hop, And they were like, yeah, it is. So that was my first experience. I looked them up. I listened to it. My first experience with Juggalos. I never know about that culture, how deep it runs, until the first show, bro.
Hell yeah.
And at that first show, it was crazy. The opening act, because it was like some local band, and then we went on, and then ICP went on. The local band they got hit in the head. One of the dudes got hit in the head with like a glass ashtray or something. So they cut their show off early, and they were like, all right, your turn. And I walk out there, and I mean, how intense the following is, but I reacted good to it, because I was intense myself. So every night it was a matter of kind of conquering the crowd, jumping in the crowd, getting respect from everybody, and then it was love. It just kind of snowballed, the love that I received from the Juggalos, from the whole culture. And I don't remember how many shows into that tour, like maybe halfway through that tour, maybe earlier, Jay came in. He came backstage with Shaggy, and they were like, yo, we're doing this other project. It's called Dark Lotus. Would you want to be in it? And I was like, yeah, what is it? And he's like, you know, it's real dark. It's kind of like voodoo and witchcraft. And at the time, I was heavily involved in witchcraft, you know, like real witchcraft. And so I was like, bro, I could do that with my eyes closed. Let's do it, you know? And when the first half of the Bizarre Bazaar tour was over, I would dip out back and forth. You know, I would drive out to Detroit, work on the album. I would stay with Jay while we were working on the album, and then drive back on the weekends to stay in Chicago until we got it done, you know? And at that time, I was really into it though. Like I ain't about that life no more, you know, and we could get into that later as you choose. But I was really into that. I was really into the demonic. I was really into summoning things that you know, that the easy way to say it is I was looking for power, and I was looking for it at any expense, you know, not realizing what it costs when you look for power from that side, you know.
I hear you.
From dark side. And it's real, bro. Like that side is real. A lot of people, you know, like Jay and Twisted and all of them, they were not into it. You know, like I came there with my books and with you know, all type of rituals and stuff, and they weren't into that. You know, matter of fact, I can't remember what song it was, but we had recorded one song, and when I did my verse, everybody was there, you know, like I ran my verse, and then it was done, and I was like, what's up, you like that? And I think it was one of the dudes from Twisted, I can't remember which one, but they're like, man, homie, you're gonna have to change those lyrics. We ain't trying to go to hell because of this album and your lyrics, you know? And Jay was like, nah, we're gonna keep it. We're gonna keep that. It was good. So, you know, I was in a different part of my life, and that album came out, you know, for better or for worse.
We got some people over in chat. Shout out Donna. Thank you for tuning in again. On Marz, man, I'm actually the only underground radio station that's got radio drops from ICP. I've looked this up.
That's what's up.
There's none. And fucking Shaggy actually interviewed me. I'll play this for you real quick before we take some other questions. Check this shit out.
djsnickerz. Is that djsnickerz as in
fucking Shaggy, man?
Snickering, or as in the candy bar, or you're like sweet as fuck? Okay, djsnickerz, be quiet for 1 second. Underground Wicked Radio in the motherfucking house. Shaggy Two Dope in this bitch. Big shouts to you and everybody listening. Bam.
All right, Underground Wicked Radio.
Shit, going. It's going real good, man. I'm gonna give you a drop. I'm gonna give you a drop so you can use it. All you gotta do is sample it. Check it out. This is Violent J, and you're checking out Underground Wicked Radio. 2 whoops, bitch.
Fucking Shaggy, Hoodoo, and Young Wicked were on when he interviewed me. He kept giving me shit about my name. And I was interviewing a porn star that night. Fucking big, well, a porn actress, as Shaggy Two Dope corrected me. Big Hoodoo was trying to hit on her the whole fucking interview. It was great.
That's what's up.
All right, Razman, take a question. I'm gonna go share this in some groups.
Hey Marz, what's your favorite song from your own discography, bro?
Right now it'll probably be Thrive. I got a new album out called Thrive, and it's the title track of the album. We got a video for it too. You could hit up YouTube, Marz, the song Thrive. It's like techno, trap, house, Johnny Cash vibe. It's a trippy song, man, but it's like, it's high energy, it's positive. You know, my whole situation changed about 10 years ago, man, because when I had hooked up with ICP, after that I got signed to Geffen Interscope Records. I went on tour with Korn. I don't know if you guys are familiar with them.
Oh yeah.
After that, I went on tour with Tech and Paul Wah. We went on a couple tours together, you know, and then I was involved in some real heavy things, and in my life, I had a drastic encounter with Christ, and it changed everything. And I don't mean in a corny way, bro, because I think a lot of times the way it's portrayed, like if you're a Christian, it's almost like you caught herpes or something. And if you tell people you're Christian, they're like, oh, I'm sorry. How long have you had that? You okay? Like, you know what I mean? And
yep.
and it's not a corny thing when you've had a genuine experience. It might be a corny thing if you've been brainwashed into it and you haven't experienced life and you haven't gone all the other routes to see if it's true or not, then it could possibly be corny. But if you have gone the other routes and then you experience Christ, it's a completely different vibe, bro. And it completely changes the whole meaning of life. It changes the purpose of life and the reason why we're here. You know what I mean? Most of us is trying to figure it out, right? Like I was trying to figure it out my way. I'm sure you guys are trying to figure it out your way and see, why are we here? You know what I mean? Is this an accident? Like, did we come from monkeys and rocks and carbon, or is there a purpose? Is there a meaning to this? And if there is, what is that meaning?
Right.
You know?
Oh yeah, man.
A
lot of people don't realize ICP are actually Christians, and they donate to a lot of Christian charities.
Yeah, I've heard that. I've actually, from doing some interviews lately with some underground and with some, you know, radio stations and internet stations that deal with that style of music. I've heard that a lot, you know. So glory to God, man. I got love for them, you know. I tell everybody, like, tell Jay, holler at me, man. We're cool, bro. You know, we had our beef. We were both a lot younger, completely, I think, on different levels at that time. I know I was, you know, but
so here's
whatever,
a question
bro.
for you, man,
Life's too
because
short
you know
for that.
ICP and Twisted. What do you think of this beef? I haven't asked this in a while. What do you think of this beef they got going on?
I saw that coming, and I know they did too, bro. 20 years ago, even when we were doing the Dark Lotus album, like, that was just a matter of time. Because this is what happens, bro. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter if you're NWA, if you're Psychopathic Records, whatever record label. When you're in what I would call the world, right? So we in the world, and it's about, if you're a rapper, it's about getting on. It's about me, right? So it's about my talent, my money. I need to get popular. I need to sell records. I need to make it. I need to get the hoes. I need to get the drugs, the power, the money, right? So it's all about me. So if we join and do something together, it's just a matter of time before we start stepping on each other's toes. It's inevitable, right? Because it's all selfish reasons that we're doing it. And, and so, you know, one of the last crews that I had here, before I got saved, it was called the Black CEOs, right? So it was me and a couple other crews that were heavily involved in the streets. And I remember the first meeting I had with everybody, I was like, listen, this is what's gonna happen. I've been doing this long enough. We're gonna step on each other's toes. So let's not kick it. Let's not hang out and allow that to happen. Let's do our business, let's make our music, and let's keep it moving. But it didn't even take 2 weeks, right? We recorded a single. I get a phone call, yo, this just went down. We're gonna kill dude. He better, you know, like, you better do something. One of the dudes in the crew with another dude that was in the crew. And none of these dudes were jokes. Like, none of the people that I was doing music with and hanging out with in Chicago, it wasn't pretend. Like, it was a matter of life or death. Matter of fact, one of the dudes had to skip out. He skipped out to Florida. And if you look up the song, it's called Nah, right? So it's Black CEOs. The song is called N-A, I think WW. And you watch the video, you notice when his verse comes on, he's not in the video. Because if he would have stayed in Chicago, he would have got murdered. So it's, you know, when I see what's happening with Twisted and ICP, that's exactly what you expect to happen when our purpose is just us.
That reminds me of the shit that went down with Wicked Ways and B-Scan.
I don't know who that is. I'm not familiar with them.
Crazy shit, man. That whole fucking situation. I actually pulled up your song, Marz Thrive. We're going to play this, and then we're going to come back after this.
All right, cool.
Yo, tell them all, let them know, tell them all, let them know, tell them all, let them know, it's a life, which one? Let me just get to the business here. I came with armies of heavenly. Life is the war with the enemy. They gon' throw stones at you anyway. They gon' throw stones at you anyway. Using the bridge for castle. Moving the kingdom forever, man. Come with your open with I got the king. That mean I'm deep in the trenches. The cannon is blasting out whatever sentence. When you don't choose in the life, then you already turn every curse to a blessing. It's forever, we never will ever leave. We gon' see power of revenue. You gon' be thrown in the crucible. Fire gon' bring you forever free. The fire gon' bring you forever free. In a world full of people and make believe. A pocket that stays at the remedy. A pocket that stays at the remedy. They gon' try to fill you up with you don't ever wanna tell the world the truth. Just that everything in it no going back, whatever come, let it come, we gon' move. Adversity is the best universal. Adversity is the best universal. Adversity is the best universal. We will forever be live. Better be used to the fire. This was part of the process. Falling was part of the rise. The sea only grow in the darkest. Next to the rain and you conquer the lies. We gon' forever be live. We gon' forever be live. Christian that heaven is the enemy. That's how we learn how to drive. We gon' forever be live. We gon' forever be live. Christian that heaven is the enemy. That's just the way that we learn how to drive. Tell them all. Let them know. Tell them all. Let them know. Tell them all. Let them know. Just the life. What you want? Don't give me vision to see me. I'm not expecting the different. It's just the blessing of humbling. Eternally grateful for everything. Eternally grateful for everything. The peaks and the valleys and everything. I'm on a move like in heaven. So struggle to do it after food we eat every day. I know the taste of the blessing, but what you think come back to teach you a lesson. If you need answers to teach you the style when it's time to give you the testing. Ain't no hope you can keep it there. This love will get you out anyway. Everything change, I mean everything. You know the morning keep coming like every day. I gotta take the love because every punishment was a reward that I needed. I can see how we use everything for the good. I'm gonna just trust and believe it. When the sun tell what the mystery is, see inside of every person never live. And Adam, everyone that's so attached to be like when we come back to life. Adversity is the best universal. Adversity is the best universal. Adversity is the best universal. We will forever be live. Better be used to the fire. Christian that head is the enemy. Different way out of front of the lies. This was part of the process. Falling was part of the rise. The sea only grow in the darkest. Next to the rain and you conquer the lies. We gon' forever be live. We gon' forever be live. Christian that head is the enemy. That's how we learn how to drive. We gon' forever be live. We gon' forever be live. Christian that head is the enemy. That's just the way that we learn how to drive. Tell them all. Let them know. Tell them all. Let them know. Tell them all. Let them know. Life.
Hell yeah, man. Love that music video to that.
Fuck yeah.
My kids love it too. They call it the monkey video.
Right?
That's some good shit. I got someone over on Facebook asking me to play a Dark Lotus song with you. Is that okay for the next one?
Yeah, man. Do your thing.
Hell yeah. All right. Before we play another song, man, what is your take on the internet? Do you think it's helped artists out in the underground? Or do you think it's taken away from money with like music and shit?
It's both. It's stolen all the money, man. Like it's taken so much of the money. Everything is free, you know. If you make music now, it's pretty much free. You got to figure out where the money moves. And that's whether doing, you know, live shows or getting publishing money from getting songs on TV and movies and whatnot. But as far as the underground, I mean, now it's leveled the playing field. So if you're an artist, man, like, you could hustle and you could be heard. Where before you couldn't, except for like your friends. Yeah. Do you know what I'm saying? So now, like, if you want to make music, man, the doors are wide open for it, you know? Right. Just don't make whack music, you know? Just give it everything, man. You know? And for me, like, if you're doing music, what's the purpose? What's the purpose?
Hell yeah.
Like, getting back to, like, what is the whole purpose of life? And why are we here, you know? For example, like, are we here to just, like, let's say for me, am I here to just make music so you think I'm cool? You know what I'm saying? Or is there a purpose for it? Is there a bigger purpose? Is there something deeper than that in this life? And I think that's one of the things that right now what I'm trying to do with my music is to at least expose you to the fact that there's deeper levels to this than what we're all playing at, you know? So if you're an artist and you're trying to get heard, why are you trying to get heard? Is it a superficial reason? Because there's deeper levels to that in life, you know?
Hell yeah, man. So what is your what kind of message are you trying to send to your fans?
I'll tell you like this. This is what I believe, bro. You know, backing up, I used to clown on Christians, right? So, and I went into it from such a crazy way. You know, the first book I ever read was the Satanic Bible. You know, I got into witchcraft really early, and then it kind of progressed. You know, there was seasons in my life where I kind of backed off of it because I was heavily into music also, and I really focused on music. But the spirituality and the witchcraft and trying to like figure that part of life out, it was always very dominant in my mind, you know? So as I moved through it, trying to figure it out, I used to clown on Christianity. So I would accept and I would listen to anybody, right? So if you were Buddhist, if you were, you know, into any kind of spiritualism, you know, whether it's like worshiping trees or crystals or whatever, I would listen to you. But if you were a Christian, I would clown on you, right? So coming into this, like I know all the ways that all the things I used to say, which is the same cliche things that people say against Christianity, right? And the truth of the matter is that the Bible as a document has so much depth and so much truth in it. But if you just look at the surface level, or if you judge it by looking at, you know, commercialized American Christianity, you won't see the truth in it, you know? I'll give you one example. I'll give you one universal truth, whether you believe in Christ or not. It's a universal truth. In the beginning, right? The very first words of the Bible. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth, and he spoke. There was a void, there was chaos, and he spoke, right? So now in that is a universal truth, which is this. You speak order out of chaos. We speak it, right? So now that will apply in your life. It applies to music. It applies to marriage. It applies to conflict. I'll give you an example. You just mentioned Twisted and ICP, right? That beef is chaos. So they have chaos that surround them, right? Some of their fans are beefing because of it. They're beefing because of it. Whatever else is happening behind the scenes. The way that gets taken care of is you speak order into that chaos. It would take somebody to man up, bring everybody together, and be like, we're going to speak
and squash that shit.
Yeah, and speak life into it. You know?
Well, see, I got a question for you then, homie. You ever been baptized?
I have been baptized, bro.
Twice. Yeah. I have been.
You've been baptized twice?
Twice. Once when I was a baby, and then by choice when I was 18.
Yeah, man. It's when you know, when you realize the baptism is when you understand what's going on, right? And I would say here's a couple things we would need to understand. One, you need to understand the level of, or what psychologists would call your shadow, what the Bible calls your sin nature, right? Which is this. Here, I'll put it this way. Every horrible thing that has ever been done by humans was done by humans, and you're a human, right? So that potential for evil is in us. Some of us might only be tapping into a small part of it, right? So we lie a little bit, we smoking weed, or we getting down with a bunch of different girls, whatever. We dealing drugs, gang banging. Some of us might be killers. I know dudes that's killers, bro. You know what I mean? Like they've done that. Now that follows them. So that potential is in us. You know, a lot of people think, like, we look at history and we look at the Nazis and we think, oh man, if I had been around at that time, I wouldn't have done that. I would have been a hero. But, you know, history shows that's not the truth. When great evil comes at us, a lot of people just join it. It's easy to look back at history and be like, oh, I would have been a hero. I would have fought for people. You know, that's questionable. Most likely, when evil approaches, it pulls out the evil in us and we join it. Now that's one way of living life, right? So that's, to be baptized, you have to see that sin nature is in us. But there's another path, right? And then the other path is the path of the cross, where you see the suffering in the world, you see the evil, that the potential that's inside of you, you see that life can be pain and hate and backstabbing. People, you know what I mean? People talking behind your back, your wife or your girlfriend cheating on you, your best friend cheating, you know, sleeping with your wife, whatever it may be. You see the pain and struggle of life, but you still choose to think, nah, it's still good. And I'm going to choose the path of the cross, which is this. You accept the suffering voluntarily, and you choose to walk in a different way. And I'll give you an example, bro. Yesterday, I had a friend of mine that's still involved in the streets, right? He moves duffel bags filled with $500,000, $750,000 in cash, right? And he's talking to me, and he's talking about a brick of heroin, right? Which is roughly $60,000 to $65,000. And he's telling me, come on, man, you wouldn't move this? Like, you wouldn't want that? If somebody just handed it to you, you wouldn't take it? And at this point in my life,
I would definitely.
I wouldn't take it. Hell no.
Well, not for drugs, no. Not for drugs.
It's a different path, bro, but it's harder. It takes way more balls to walk that path. It takes way more heart and courage to be like, oh, if I could think like this. One way to think about it is like, well, if I don't do it, somebody else is going to do it, right? That's one way. And if you want to live that route, go ahead. Taste that. See what that brings to your life. And the other way is like, nah, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to look at what our example is, which is Christ. And for all of y'all listening to this, let me tell you something, right? Your true identity, the whole secret of the Bible, the mystery hidden for ages and generations that has now been revealed, is Christ in you, the hope of glory. That's the whole purpose of this life. God said, let us create mankind in our image. We are all somewhere in that process. That's the whole point.
Hey, Sarah, I got you here in a second. She wants me to play a Dark Lotus song.
I got you. That's the whole point of this existence, is to be made in his image. And the way the way that you do that is you accept that suffering and you still walk that path, trusting him that he's good. And it changes you, bro. It changes you. I mean, it's a way of being. It's a different way of experiencing this life. And it don't mean you don't have problems. It don't mean you don't have temptations. It don't mean that you don't struggle with these things in this world. But it means that every single time, Christ is the target that you aim at. And every single time, if you mess up, you brush it off and we go again. We all know that we are more than we are being. We all know that we could be more than what we are showing. And the path that I'm on is trying to achieve that and calling everybody else up. Not calling people out, but calling everybody up. We all know that we could be more than we being right now. So it's
hard to find
that level.
An artist that gets bigger, man, and actually be humble and remember the people that helped them get where they are today. A lot of them just say, fuck you guys now.
Man, a lot of times it goes to people's heads. I mean, people always say like, oh, when I get money, I ain't going to change. Hell no, you're going to change, bro. You're going to change, but you better hope you change for the better. All money all success is a magnifying glass on who you are already. And the fact of the matter is we're all jacked up, bro. We are all way more jacked up than most of us will consciously admit. Now, there might be times when we're laying in our bed and the lights are off and nobody's watching and those masks come off and we'll admit who we really are. But, you know, when the lights are back on, we put those masks on and we pretend we're something that we're not. You know what I mean?
Hell yeah. All right, Sam, we're going to play this song. We're going to play Dark Lotus, Headache, featuring Marz. You want to tell us about this song before we cut over?
I don't even remember this song, bro.
Great. All right.
I'll tell you about it after you
Snickers.
play it. It'll
Yo.
remind me.
What's up, Big Ninja?
What album is this off? What's the name? Do you know?
Tales from the Lotus Pod.
Okay. I just want to make sure.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. We'll be right back after the song.
Got family love.
We are live on Underground Wicked Radio with Marz with a Z, not an S, from the Dark Lotus City. Raz, take it off.
All right. Hey, Marz, if you could perform in any city in the world, what city would you choose and why?
I've got to perform in a lot of cities in the world. When I was in this metal band called Ministry, we got to tour through Europe. One of the most beautiful cities we performed in was Venice.
Hell
But
yeah.
man, I love every city, everywhere I've been, through the States, out through Europe. Like, I've never been to a place I didn't like. You know what I'm saying?
Hell yeah.
So it's all love everywhere I go, man. I always find something good about it. I'm
For
an
sure.
optimist, son.
Hell yeah.
All right, I'll take a question. Let's do a radio drop right off. Can you do a radio drop for Underground Wicked Radio saying, this is Marz, you're listening to djsnickerz and Raz, and then drop links, homie. It'll play before all your songs in rotation.
Tell me one more time, you're listening to
djsnickerz and Raz on Underground Wicked Radio.
What's up, everybody? This is Marz, and you're listening to djsnickerz and Raz at Underground Wicked Radio. Get it right, homie?
Woo woo.
Woo woo. How about some links?
Links for my music?
Yep.
Yeah.
Hit up my website. It's marzofficial.com. That's marzofficial.com. Marz with a Z.
All right, I'll take questions. Marz, man, what do you get? A lot of people describe it different. What kind of high do you get when people in the audience start singing along to one of your songs, and do you ever come down from this high?
Oh, I'm just kidding. I don't know what
What kind of high is it? I mean, one thing, it's beautiful when you can create a work of art and you see that it's touched somebody's life, or you see that it's affected them, or you reach some type of level that transcends the physical, and you connected with somebody like that. So I think it's a beautiful thing, and it's a beautiful part of life to connect with people on that level that you might have never even met, but you might have went through a life experience that you both can relate to, So
That's what's up. Oh yeah. One more question, Raz, before I let you take another one. What was it like being on the Dark Lotus album, man? How the hell did you get up on that?
Man, where do I start, bro? I met Jay, I was signed to a label from New York. They got me on the tour, which was it was the Bizarre tour, right?
Hell yeah.
I had never even heard of ICP before that. When the label called me, we were looking for a tour. The label called me and they were like, yo, there's this crew called ICP. You want to go on tour with them? And I'm like, yeah, is it hip hop, And they were like, yeah, it is. So that was my first experience. I looked them up. I listened to it. My first experience with Juggalos, I never know about that culture, how deep it runs, until the first show, bro.
Hell yeah.
And at that first show, it was crazy. The opening act, because it was like some local band, and then we went on, and then ICP went on. The local band they got hit in the head. One of the dudes got hit in the head with like a glass ashtray or something. So they cut their show off early, and they were like, all right, your turn. And I walk out there, and I mean, how intense the following is, but I reacted good to it, because I was intense myself. So every night it was a matter of kind of conquering the crowd, jumping in the crowd, getting respect from everybody, you know, and then it was love. It just kind of snowballed, the love that I received from the Juggalos, from the whole culture. And I don't remember how many shows into that tour, like maybe halfway through that tour, maybe earlier, Jay came in. He came backstage with Shaggy, and they were like, yo, we're doing this other project. It's called Dark Lotus. Would you want to be in it? You know, and I was like, yeah, what is it? And he's like, you know, it's real dark. It's kind of like voodoo and witchcraft. And at the time, I was heavily involved in witchcraft, you know, like real witchcraft. And so I was like, bro, I could do that with my eyes closed. Let's do it, you know? And when the first half of the Bizarre Bazaar tour was over, I would dip out back and forth. You know, I would drive out to Detroit, work on the album. I would stay with Jay while we were working on the album, and then drive back.
Especially about the line with the nuns.
Yeah, they were rapping about the devil and shit too. I was like, oh shit.
That shit was hard though.
You know what I mean? So life's a trip, man. Life's a trip. I haven't heard that song since, man, years, like years and years. So
yeah,
it just shows how much different things are. You know what I mean? How much different things are in my life.
Or even your song.
We're actually going to play one of your new songs after we take some questions. I'm going to play Light of the Sun featuring Raj Red. I've actually heard of that. What's that, Marz?
Got a little acoustic guitar. And Rose is an amazing singer, man. She's a friend of mine from Chicago. We shot it. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Chicago. We shot it at Wicker Park. We did like a outside performance type of thing, you know, like street performance.
I haven't asked this question in the last couple of interviews. What do you think of Donald Trump, man? Do you think he's running this country right?
Oh man. I'll say this, bro. I believe it. So here's what I believe. I believe presidents are not elected. I believe they're selected, right? And so all the Bushes, the Clintons, you know, Obama, they were selected. Like, people think they voted them in, but it's just what they would call mass programming, right? Tell the people what they want to hear, and then it makes us feel like we got power and like we did something. I cannot figure out what the hell the deal is with Donald Trump, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because Hillary was chosen. She was chosen to be the president by the government that is behind the government, the deep government, bro. Because there's people in control that we've never even heard their names. They're running things, right? So when Donald Trump came on the scene, I mean, Newsweek even printed up the magazines already that Hillary was president. Everybody thought Hillary was gonna win, right? So Donald Trump seems, and I can't figure out, is he really a wrench in the machine or not? Because the media is completely manipulative. So if you look at all the media, nonstop, it's against him. You know, he's the stupidest man that ever lived. I can't put nonstop, which then makes me think maybe he's not part of the machine. Maybe he's not part of that, right? So I'm in a position right now where I'm extremely glad that Hillary is not president. I have no idea what to think about him being president. So I'm sitting back and kind of watching it unfold because it looks like a reality show. You know what I mean?
Basically, yeah.
So
what about some of these comments that he's making, man? Like telling telling people we've got a bigger nuke button in them, shit like that. I mean, we're gonna start a war with shit.
He's telling people Donald Trump is like how would I say? He's telling people exactly. He's a reflection of us, you know. There was a lady that I saw the other day, and she walked by and she was saying something about Donald Trump, and you know, he's a pervert and he's doing all this thing. And I'm like, hold up. He's called a pervert, but 70 million people read the 50 Shades of Grey. He's not a pervert. He's a reflection of exactly what America is. He's us. He's America, So when he says that stuff, like, yeah, of course, because he's an American, and that's exactly what Americans say. So he's a direct reflection of all of us. And I don't think that's going to change until we change. Until we personally change, we're going to keep getting presidents that are reflections of us. It's like we're doing all this jacked up stuff. Our own lives are jacked up, and then we're surprised that the man that we chose to be president is doing that. You know what I mean? Like when all that stuff came out about him saying, grab her by the, you know what I mean? Like I just grab women when I want them. And we're acting shocked? Come on, man. Why are we shocked at that? It's what 99.9% of the people talk like. That's what they talk about. But then we're like, oh, but you're not allowed to say that. He's just a regular human being, man. But I'll tell you one thing. He is not as stupid as everybody thinks. Think about it, bro. Like, everybody's like, oh, he's so stupid. He's dummy. How is he dumb? He won the presidency. And he won it with everybody against him. Every actor, every rapper, every singer. You know what I mean? Every Democrat and almost every Republican. Every news agency. The FBI was against him. Obama was against him. Obama was going and doing huge campaigns for Hillary because she couldn't pull the people. You know what I mean? Donald Trump is doing a secondary city, 12 miles outside of Miami, and he's pulling 30,000 people at the event and another 30,000 outside. Hillary Clinton did an event in Miami, and she couldn't pull a couple thousand people. So
what about him? What about him fucking deporting people? What do you think of that? I kind of think that's bullshit.
Man,
to a certain extent.
It's just spun to make us hate him. Because both Bill Clinton, Bush, and Obama did the exact same thing. The exact same thing. You could pull up interviews with Obama right now saying the exact same thing. You could pull up statistics on how many people the Obama administration deported, and it was way bigger than what Trump is doing. And the whole thing, the Dreamers thing, look, man, I don't want nobody to get deported. God bless everybody. Everybody's struggling, but it's spun into a lie to make us hate him. Obama did the same stuff. The Dreamer thing, he said, this is temporary. Obama, he was like, we can't keep doing this. We're a nation of laws. We can't have illegals here, right? But now Trump is saying the exact same thing. And the same thing Hillary said. The same thing Bill Clinton said. But it's spun to make him evil. It's politics, bro. It's the same BS. And we're suckers. And they're going to keep doing, the people in power are going to keep doing whatever it takes to separate us, And right now, that's huge, bro. The division of liberals and right wing, whatever that's called, conservatives, keep us arguing over some pettiness, and they're going to keep, the people in power are going to keep doing what they've been doing.
You wouldn't believe the people that believe everything they see on fucking Facebook.
Which is most people.
Yep. Did you see this shit going around with King Grissom?
Say that one
you know who that is, Marz? King Grissom? King Grissom.
Crimson.
Well, it's just Crimson now.
Yeah, it's just Crimson now. He was on Dr. Phil. All these jugglers are giving him shit about it. He went on Dr. Phil, and, man, they messed that whole fucking show up. But because of himself going on there, making himself look like a fool, he's getting all kinds of hate now.
What did he do? What?
He went on there, and basically his wife was paid to say that she was going to divorce him. He never listened to ICP before they were married. and he wasn't King Grissom before they got married. But yet, if you look at their photo album, he is King Grissom when they got married, and he's got fucking Juggalo tattoos all over him. After she said that, he said he's been supporting ICP for, I think he said he was 13. They messed the whole show up, and people don't catch that shit in there, but I did. So I'm like, what the fuck part of it's real?
It's all, bro. It's not much. Not much of it is real. Not much of most things is real. You know, most of it is
Get out of here, Shaggy. Shaggy Two Dope just dissed King Grissom. I didn't see it. You got a link
because it was on his show. It was on the Fuck Ever DJ Clay, and then they eventually got Light into it. Light came in like real late in the segment, but yeah, dude, it's all over. I mean, there's a channel that's got it real well. I watched a video. All it is it's basically Shaggy and DJ Clay just ripping into him for like a half an hour.
Damn.
Like they were hardcore making fun of him. I watched it. Like Shaggy even got to the point where he was like, okay, why am I not included in this? Because I spoke too. And then B, he said, shit, dude, I'll give you Jay's number if you just want to hop in here.
Oh, shit. I missed all of this. All right, let's get back to the interview. So, Marz, man, we're going to play Light of the Sun featuring Rose Red. Want to talk a little bit about this before we cut over?
Say that again?
We're going to play Light of the Sun featuring Rose Red. Did we lose him?
No, I'm here, bro. Play
Oh,
it.
there he is. All right, we'll be back after the song. Marz.
All right.
Light of the Sun.
Even through my darkest of night,
I'm standing naked on a rock. They wonder where I've been. I put my heart up on my chest for you. Black is on my sin. Heavens opened up. I heard the angels start to sing. A sword pierced my chest. I said hello to my death, and I died. What a beautiful surrender. Split my soul and spirit like the summer split from winter. Had the vision of that prison slave dressed in Gucci linen, doors open. It was empty. I am sending freedom right now. Every curse broken right now. And every chain broken right now. And every lie exposed. I see a light from deep inside of you. And every liar knows right now. As if you only use your eyes. You see the clouds but not the sky. Play with seashells in the sand. Or dive into the ocean right now. What have you done? What have you done? What have you done? What have you done? It has to see the light of the sun. What have you done? What have you done? What have you done? What have you done? It has to see the light of the sun.
I still feel the light of the sun, even through my darkest of nights. I know that the morning.
Now I'm standing on the stage, staring at the crowd. Some windows to the soul is bright, the sun is dark and proud. Time is ticking down, this could be our last goodbye. Looking in the mirror, we are not forever young, stop lying. If you only use your eyes, you see the clouds but not the sky. Play with seashells on the sand. I dive into the ocean right now. I see clear for the first time like I woke up. Watch a dead man by the paper like a program. It ain't nothing safe. You can either buy it or fake it. You can either ride for the truth and prostitute for the world, man. It's basic. Money make you sell number for 5 minutes. You could be the next clown in the music business. So baby, master Judas. Stack the diamonds and rubies. Speaking death in your music. You enslave the day use it. But all that gold can't save your soul. And one day we give account for every word we spoke. So now get up. What have you done? 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 I see the light of the sun. Now I know you still love me.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, homie. You gotta send some of these over to me. Put them on the radio.
How do you need them? Like MP3s?
I think you might have froze up.
I heard him.
How do you need them? Like MP3s?
Yeah, I think Snickers froze up on us.
Yeah, he ain't online no more, is he?
Looks like he dropped out. But hey, we're still live though.
Marz, man, I totally want to say I feel what you said all about with the government stuff, because I got like same exact thoughts. So props, man. It's glad I got another human that's got it figured out, man. Good looking.
Trying, bro. There's a lot of deception out there. A lot, you know. There's a lot of what they would call engineering of. Have you ever heard this concept? It's called social engineering, right?
Yeah, I have.
And so, have you?
Yeah, I have.
You know what I mean? And the vast majority of the average people you meet are socially engineered. They're socially engineered on what to wear, what to eat, how to think, you know what I mean? How to act. Television programming programs opinions into us, desires into us, and most of us are puppets, or most of us are like a Pinocchio, like a marionette, being controlled by these forces that we don't even understand. And that's one of the other things about the shift in my life when I started following Christ, because a lot of people have told me, and I used to think this too, I used to think the Bible was a way to control the masses, right? And now religion absolutely can be used to control the masses. But what happens with the Bible, it's a personal thing. It's an individual relationship with God. And once you're connected to that, you can't be controlled. And that's why they try to limit the Bible in certain countries. You know, in communist countries, it was illegal. In a lot of countries, it was illegal for you to have the Bible, because they knew that if you get into the Word of God, if you get plugged back to the source, you can't be controlled. And you start seeing through the matrix. You start seeing through the government corruption and political corruption and the corruption of society. You start being able to see through it, and then you're dangerous, right? Because now you're no longer just a sheep that's just parroting back what you've been told. Now you start thinking for yourself of the deeper things in life, and you can't be controlled then, you know? So that's just one of the blessings of walking with Christ, is that you genuinely become a free man. All of us are slaves, bro. All of us, man. We're all slaves. We're all programmed to do certain things. the vast majority of us have no idea who we truly are, man. We've been told, I'll use myself for an example, you know, growing up, the music I listened to, the gang influence that I was around, the people that I was around, television and movies, it all influenced me and programmed me, my likes, my dislikes, the way I dressed, the way I talked. That wasn't really me. You know what I mean? I didn't even know who I was, and I'm still discovering it, who I am in Christ, who my true identity is, who I was meant to be before this world was even made, you know? And it's like we come here and we put on, you still there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We come here and all these masks get put on us and we put certain masks on, and then the process is removing all that crap, bro, you know, and standing naked with who we truly are in our essence. And actually, the next album that I'm starting to work on is called Naked, NKD, and just stripping all of that. You know, in that last song that was played, I have a line on the beginning line of my verses. I'm standing naked on a rock. They wonder where I've been. You know, I pull my heart up on my chest for you. Black is all my sin. Like, look at it. I'm not running no more, man. This is exactly who I am. I'm not fronting. I'm not trying to get your money. I don't need you to think I'm cool. I don't need anybody's respect. I try to get people's respect and admiration. I don't need none of that. This is me naked. This is exactly who I am. Love it or hate it. And bro, that is the most freeing place we could be. And that rock that I'm standing on is Christ, and it's unshakable. Storms are gonna come, you know, disrespect is gonna come, whatever's gonna come. I'm all right. Here I am standing naked on this rock. Throw whatever stone you want at me, homie. I'm good. And that's a powerful place to be, bro, because you're not sick. It's like people think that, you know, the Christian walk is it's almost like you're neutered, right? Like you're a neutered house cat and you're nice. That's not what it's about. You're the most dangerous human being when you're truly following that path, because no one can manipulate you. You don't depend on the world's approval anymore. You're a true rebel, right? It's like growing, you know, we have our life at home or not, if we have a horrible home, right? And then we hook up with a clique. And whether that's a juggalo clique, whether that's a gangbanging clique, whether that's a police officer clique, a doctor, whatever, you join a group. And that's a part of maturity, right? We need that. And that's good. We join a group, but then you grow and you have to be able to separate yourself from that group to see who you really are. What's your true identity, you know? And another group might be a political party, you know? You're a liberal, you're right wing, you are this. But to really master this existence, we have to separate ourselves from that, be put in the wilderness, be connected to God and see who am I really? And who you are really is a dangerous person when you're plugged into God through the Holy Spirit, following Christ.